Hello, I am a shrimp and today I am building a house from another game. It's a horror game, but don't worry, this house is totally normal. It's not like the house from the mysterious door where it's a normal house until that one little bit. This is entirely a normal house. It is from the horror game Captured, which is like you're stuck in a loop of your house and you have to find like the anomalies with your camera. So it's things like as you go through different loops, you know, this piece of furniture's moved or something's missing. But there's no... Okay, and there's a few not so friendly faces in the mix, but the house itself is otherwise normal. There's no hidden rooms, there's no, you know, outside of furniture moving and disappearing. It's fine, it's a normal house. What you'd think would make it great for making in The Sims. And I had fun, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Yes, you know, while building I definitely had my usual muttering to myself about Sim squares. So, you know, just trying to get something from one virtual space to another. Sometimes it's fun. Okay, it's always fun. But considering it's a loop, just listen, it's fine. It's meant to be like a 90s aesthetic house, and I'm just really glad we have those retro decorative phones from that. What was the event even called? You know, the event with the time traveler, and we got like the inflatable furniture and some non-functional phones. I don't even care that much about like the phones, but like people do still have landlines. It may be not nearly as many, but like not everyone who needs or wants a landline has like, you know, disappeared. I'm not one of them though. I'm like, why would I need another phone? Anyway, yeah. A kid's room, you can tell. It's quite a snazzy little kid's room. Although I do realize as building it, because once I put Sims into playtest, I was like, you know, aside from like the TV and the games, and okay, yes, the like little bits of building block bricks and the basketball, there's not a lot of toys in this room. It's technically implied a few more on shelves, but so don't worry. Build-wise, this doesn't impact you. The gallery is how you see it here. But gameplay-wise, I had to give my child Sim some more toys. I was like, wait, this is actually a little sad. there's not a teddy bear or, you know, a toy car or anything. So, like I said, this is from a game that is a loop. So, like, you go through the final door and you're just back at the start again. So I just started building it room by room, trying to estimate how far along each door was in the hallway. And then at the end, I fixed the rough edges, if you will, from not having any exterior to go off of. It's an interesting look. Don't worry, we fix things. And then I add a nice little outdoor area, and I mean, it's no starter home, but I think it's a nice enough little, you know, family home. Your Sims could move into, do little upgrades over time. Maybe it would be fun. Maybe I've never actually done like a decades challenge, but maybe it would be fun for part of the decades challenge, like, you know, when you hit like the 80s or 90s, and could just, you know, be like, yeah, we'll add more fancy stuff as we go. I don't know. You tell me, decade challenge people. But yeah, so it's a 2-bedroom family house. There is a laundry room, which is this now. I have questions about laundry, but I will not interrupt my list longer than I already have. There's one bathroom, no ensuites or anything. There is a kitchen, a dining room, a living room, and a home office. So I like the picture of the family that lives here. Like, they're just a little bit of workaholics. Oh, laundry. I forgot I did this. Well, I mean, I knew I did it, but I forgot I needed to talk about it. So I used like both a little bit of wall tricks and then a little bit of a counters in the basement trick to put a functional clothesline in the counters, because in the game there is like rails on that wall and there is clothes hanging. I was like, I could use some of the wardrobe things, or I could literally make it functional for your Sims. They can dry their clothes whatever the weather. But right, my actual question about laundry. So in the game, the like washing machine and dryer is like the top loading style that I purely associate with America from seeing it in way too many movies and shows. I really meant to Google this, but I still haven't Googled it, so maybe I'll remember to Google it. But I'm like, are those only an American thing? Are they a thing anywhere else? I don't know. But that's not the question, though. My question is, for anyone who's, used those, is it not really inefficient? Because I'm thinking especially, listen, I'm not called shrimp for nothing. I am not particularly tall. A little bit on the short side. And I'm thinking, if you have to reach, up, over, and then down inside, your washing machine to get to your clothes, is that not horribly inefficient and annoying to do? I have no doubt that there's probably a mix of front loading and top loading out there. I don't particularly think America only has one, but I'm just curious. And maybe I should also Google why were top loading ones made first and then. Because it just doesn't seem if you have the choice between the two, I don't understand, and I want to understand. So I'm welcoming any completely random comments. You know what? This is the kind of thing I expect to ramble if I built another laundromat or something. But no, here I am, inspired from one game into another game into a haven't remembered to Google rabbit hole. This is the home office. I really like the home office. I don't know what it is. It just seems very, I don't know, both cozy yet streamlined, efficient. There's just something about it. It's very nice. And like I said, I picture the Sims that live here just being a complete workaholic, I feel one parent just goes to work and then comes home and just keeps working. Or maybe they entirely work from home. And I haven't decided if the other parent is equally a workaholic, or maybe they're a stay-at-home parent. Kind of toying with the idea, maybe they're big on spas, so maybe they just spend all their time at the spa, and then they pick up their kid and bring their kid home. On the part where they don't really care about being a parent, or where they just actually have their own interests and are still a good parent. I don't know. I have conflicting ideas for the Sims I would move in here. But mostly I think I'm just going to move in a couple of, obviously, a little family and have them in, the business and maybe the legal or teacher careers, and just have them set up to have some more Sims in the world. Maybe they'll open a business at some point, because, listen, most of those small businesses I've built on the channel already, I have most of them in one save file. Not as because I have a few save files that are just dedicated to building, but I have one save file. I think I made it around the time High School Years came out, and I was going to attempt to actually play multiple generations of family. I haven't got that far yet, but the save file, the families are expanding, I had to start making Sims everywhere for running different businesses. I was like, well, that'd be really cool for the teen and the family to go there with their friends and this, that. Also, one of the builds I'm really happy with. It's probably been a couple of years since I built it, but 99% certain it's on this channel, and if it's not on this channel, it's on the playlist in this channel that contains the builds of both my other channel and this channel from before I made this Sims dedicated channel. Either way, teen warehouse hangout or something. I made it into a little bit of a small business. Seems to work okay. I'm kind of yes, your Sims pay to hang out here. Takes away from the original idea where it's just an abandoned warehouse that the neighborhood teens have taken over, but it's also a fun little business idea, so you can roll either way. Sorry, completely distracted by my save file. Would it be a horror game if there wasn't a rocking chair? Also, that clothes horse, clothes rail, coat rack, whatever. In the corner of the parents' room, you just know that in the game, the game that this is based on, Captured, it has, the coat and the hat and the handbag positioned just right, that if you looked at it wrong, you'd be like, wow, there's someone stood there. I haven't had an actual jump scare with it yet. I haven't finished the game, though, because, I'm not good at surviving. I've had many loops and less success. And then we have the nice kitchen, which I think I end up downsizing slightly. There's been a few times where I've like made the room and then went, this looks a little off. I'm like, I just, take it in by a square. And it leads into the nice dining room, which is, I think if you were to do this, if you were to judge this for pure 100% placement accuracy, I think the dining room is slightly to the side a bit. But I didn't think adjusting it more, like the actual room, would make sense in line with the house itself. So I was like, no, it's fine, okay? Sim squares and other virtual spaces might not perfectly line up, and I'd need to accept it. I say as I ramble about this every time. Every time. Oh yeah, I do put a pot on the stove top because there's one in the game. You kind of might need to move that if your Sims want to actually use it. I thought it was far enough back that it would not be a problem, but apparently it is indeed a problem. Also, there's so many rugs, and so many were like just stripy rugs. So I've used the stripy rug a lot. And another thing I didn't notice while I was playtesting it, there's not a single mirror in this house, which I mean it seems kind of fitting for a house that ends up being the location for a horror game. But I was intrigued. So, just a heads up if you want to download this. You may need to add one if you need one, like there's not even one in the bathroom. There's the space in between the cabinets and the wall, you could place one, but there is not already one. Dining room. I make it work. There's a little bit more play around with the walls and stuff, but it's snazzy, and I feel like it does hit a certain element of nostalgia in terms of all of the random darker wood furniture and more clutter. If it wasn't from a game that is a horror game, and it was from a game that was like trying to perfectly recreate houses from eras, like I feel like there'd definitely be way more clutter and a lot more trinkets and more patterns on walls and floors and stuff. But it is what it is, and what it is works. See? Adjusting the wall. Do you see where my problems are going to be whenever I come to fix the outside? Because, yeah. And yes, every room does have the same ceiling light, because you know what? There are not any ceiling lights in the game, because that's part of the loop. All of the ceiling lights have disappeared. So I went simple base game option, a go-go. I spent a long time in the living room wishing that I could have, like, that item, but just the side door cupboard part of it to add on, like to make a little extended version. And I played around a lot with moving them around. I just accepted. I accepted in the end because I needed space beside it for more tables and plants and stuff. But you know the vision, We tried. Also, I mean, I guess, and I do guess from, movies and TV shows, phones in the bedroom are not a weird concept, but me placing these setups going, like, did people in real life really have landlines in their bedrooms? Like, because short of you being, like, I don't know, an on-call paramedic or something, seems very unnecessary. Granted, unless you are, an emergency service kind of person, you wouldn't expect a phone call while you're asleep anyway, but at the same time, I'm not taking chances. There'll be that one night owl that just goes, "Hey, you awake?" And you'd be like, "I am now." I say that I am a night owl, but I'm a respectful night owl. I am a keep to myself in my own bubble night owl. I say that I'm transitioning back to being a night owl. I'm mostly there, but I think I'm still a little in a confused pigeon state. I changed my my life schedule, but my work schedule. I changed jobs, and I went from getting up really early and working really early to the very, very early, the kind of early that you're waking up when you used to be nearly going to sleep at kind of early. And now I'm not, and now I can night owl again, but my brain hasn't fully gotten used to that yet. Lights. Yeah, so my understanding is that the little door in the living room is the front door because, you know, you have the coats and the shoes beside that. So I made it the front door, and I made the door that was at the start of the hallway. I started building the back door, because that's where you start at in the game. That's like the beginning door that loops. Like you go from the living room into that hallway. So I made a little back door, made a nice little, like it's just a simple backyard. There's flowers and stuff. There's a barbecue and some outdoor seating and table, and there's a couple of loungers and some flamingos and stuff. Like it's and one garden planter, and you know I tucked the bins into a little nook there in the walls. Like it's nice and simple, and then there's just hedge landscaping around because I feel like, you know, the Sims that live here, they're workaholics. They want the nice house. They want to, you know, they care about what their neighbors think of them and stuff. But they want low maintenance. Like they're too busy to really be tending to any kind of extravagant landscaping. They just, I don't know, hire someone to trim their hedges every so often. I had fun with the roof. I did. I tried a few different things. Even what you're going to see as the final option here, I end up changing again. So you'll see in the screenshots at the end, it's mostly the middle of the roof. I adjust the outer pieces are pretty much as they are. Yeah, the little like pillar bits that I built, both in some places to hide items that were sneakily hidden in walls, and then also one part just to give the outside of the house a bit more, is texture the right word, but you know, make it less flat and make it seem like it does randomly jut out because of the build. Be less random, you know? Trying to make it work, okay? Listen, I did what I set out to do. I recreated the house in The Sims. It looks like the house, as best as I can get it. And it's functional. And it looks pretty, and they have a nice garden, which I'm sure maybe they do in the game, but you'll never know because you'll never see it. And you know, the roof works. I filled in some of the gaps in between the hallway and rooms and stuff. So there's two rooms you could, if you downloaded this, you know, you expand the family. There's one that could definitely become a bedroom. I think it's big enough. Slightly L-shaped, but big enough. Oh yeah, I fixed a few little things like that, floating toilet roll and stuff. Oh yeah, and then there's like a tiny rectangular room that I'm like, maybe you could make another bathroom or a hobby room if you wanted. There's room for expansion. Yeah. It's a snazzy little home. It's both simple but not simple. Extravagant but not fancy. I don't know. It's just a nice house. See? Outdoor space. Have a barbecue. Enjoy the outdoors. There's the fixed roof. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, it's up in the gallery. My ID is Shrimpchew. If you're intrigued about the horror games, you should check out my other channel. It's just called Shrimpchew. I do a variety of gaming silver deer. And until next time, I hope you're having a great day. Do not get stuck any loops. Goodbye.